All right, guys, it's time for the Next Level Guy Show, a men's interview, interest, and improvement-focused podcast featuring interviews with the greats from all industries to help you better your life. Each week, a new episode features an interview with one of the greats, covering all aspects of their story, from life hacks to tips and protocols that have allowed them to live life on the next level. We then highlight concrete action steps that you can use to improve your life. And now, your host, Ian Dawson Mackay.
And today's guest is Michelle Rose. Michelle is a transformative yoga, Pilates and breathwork expert and the visionary creator of Project La Femme. Michelle's mission is to guide people back to their divine selves, away from the hassle, overgiving and chasing that can lead to burnout. Through her work, she inspires people to drop their shields, embrace their softer nature and reignite their inner magnetism. Whether you're seeking balance, healing or a deeper connection with yourself, Michelle's wisdom is a game changer. Tune in for a powerful conversation about surrender, self-care and stepping into your true feminine power and truly find yourself. Everyone, including men, have both masculine and feminine energy, and Michelle is an expert in helping us heal our wounded energy and step into our true energy and self. Please note, the video and the interviews went a bit awry, so I used a slideshow sample of the amazingly beautiful and artistic photos Michelle provided for the video. So if you want to see the beautiful work that Project La Femme creates, you need to check out the video version of the interview too. And now, let's get to the interview. For those who maybe don't recognise the name, and they should be ashamed that they don't, how would you explain who you are and what you do?
Okay, so I'm Michelle Rose. I've been a yoga teacher for 12 years. And I came into teaching yoga through personal crisis. Like I needed yoga for me, for mental health. And yoga it just really helped me to clear away old stuff. It was therapy. Teaching yoga and practicing yoga was therapy. Movement and deep breathing helped to just clear out some old stuff. I had ADHD before. Never diagnosed, but it was pretty obvious. It was I didn't need to be diagnosed. And just that constant moving and breathing all day teaching cleared it away. Like I'm a different person. And so that led me into teaching breath work, because I'm like many people who say, I can't meditate. I'm better off moving. I'm a moving person. So breath work really suited me rather than meditation, because it just gets all that stimulation out and then gets me into a meditative state. So it got me into that. And then Project La Femme was really born out of just deep heartbreak and regret, because I broke up with a partner of 8 years, and it was a beautiful relationship. Love of my life, was then. I will have another one. But I didn't think we were going to ever break up. And so when I felt that things weren't really moving in the direction that I thought we should, I felt like we weren't really growing anymore. I kept trying to fix it and fix myself. And there was just so many signs that it wasn't for either of us anymore, but there was deep love. And so I kept trying to go back and fix myself. And eventually we did finish it. And I realized I really had to finish. And then, I was really sitting with the grief of that. I was really sitting with the pain going, okay, there's part of it. I was in pain because I loved him dearly. I didn't expect it to finish, even though it needed to. But also this pain of I'm not where I should be in my life. I was 46 and I'd lost the opportunity to buy a home together. I'd lost a man who I thought I was going to marry. I was just not where I thought I would be at 46 years old. And my head was just saying some horrible things like, you should have been married in your 30s. You should have already bought a house. You should have done this. You should have done that. So what are you? And like my head was also saying, like, in terms of my health and my body and my appearance and having another partner and, wanting to get married. It's like, you just hang up your boots. Just forget about all that stuff. You're done. Like, it's too late. And I'm like, how about I just do the exact opposite of that? How about I just really discover who I really am, forget all of that conditioning of where I should be in my life, and go from there. And so that's where Project La Femme was born. It helped me to just discover that part of me that's like loves to rebel a little bit, loves to be feminine and loves colors and loves to feel good about myself, loves to take care of myself. And also it helped me to heal the regret of the relationship, because one big theme in the relationship was neglect and abandonment. I completely neglected my partner. I put work and money and getting ahead in front of him so much. Like, there was so many weekends away that I didn't go to and he had to go by himself, or so many social events that I didn't go to because I was having to get ahead and I was having to work on my business and having to do all this stuff because I thought we would never split up. And so when we did, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just done all that stuff. We were going to break up anyway. I should have done all that stuff. It would have been beautiful. And so I realized, well, how can I fix this? I couldn't heal that feeling of regret for neglecting him because I caused a lot of pain. And I thought the only way I can really heal this is to address the self-neglect. And so that's one of the key things that started Project La Femme, is looking at where I was really neglecting myself, everything I love to do, all of my needs, all of my desires, just I had them all on the back burner. Because I thought you can't neglect somebody else unless you're neglecting yourself first. So I came out of that, and then I started to really dive into, who is Michelle? Who am I really? Who is this Michelle Rose character? And then I started to really discover who I really am, minus what I was being told that I should be. And that healed the regret. And I told him about it in the end. So, yeah.
You have no idea how close of a story we have, because I've lost a partner and it completely changed me. And I don't think I have ever been that person again. I think I've always lived a shell of myself. I've always and lately, the last, say, 5-10 years, I've spent all my time at work. I've kind of lost my hobbies, I've lost my passion, I've lost my interest. And I know what you mean. It's that horrible moment you wake up and you look back and go, hey, wait a minute here. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? And yes, it's an arbitrary, somebody has said 2.4 kids by the time you're 35. I mean, I'm not married, no kids. And suddenly I'm looking back going, this wasn't how life was meant to be. I shouldn't be this way. So why do you think we use like drink, drugs, casual sex, I don't know, like TV to kind of, why do we want to live in burnout, despair, pain, misery? And, why do we want to just feel empty but not deal with it and just deal with the symptoms of it?
I haven't done that since the breakup, which was over 2 years ago. I've really dived into being the way I want to be and discovering what that is. However, I can relate to it when I was in the relationship and before. I was really neglecting. I wasn't listening to all the signs and symptoms in my body. I don't drink alcohol because it's just not for me. And it's best that I avoid sugar too. All the dopamine rush is something in me just goes, oh, wow, this is exciting. It's the party. So for me, I would numb with anything with sugar. And so when I was in the relationship, before I was in that relationship, I didn't drink. I hadn't drunk for 4 years because I discovered, there's something in it that just doesn't work for me. I'm too sensitive.
I'm definitely
so I was
the same.
very same. Yeah. So the more sensitive people that I meet can't drink, and almost all of them have to avoid sugar, I would say. But anyway, so I was in the relationship, and about I don't know how many months after he moved in with me, And I'm going to tell you, this was a beautiful man. We love each other still. We're not in contact now, but like there's no hard feelings. It was a beautiful breakup, beautiful relationship. But I started to crave alcohol. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. I haven't drunk for 4 years, haven't missed it, haven't wanted to, can go to bars and everything. I don't have to avoid anything. It's just that I don't want it in my body. It doesn't work for me. And I started to crave it. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's fine. Maybe I just want to enjoy some wine with my partner. So I thought, okay, well, I'm like, if I get a strong craving for something, I just got to have it. It's just a nightmare if I try and avoid a craving. I just got to learn why I'm craving it and learn not to crave it. Otherwise, I'm going to have it. So I thought I'll jump on that and I'll see what it is. And anyway, so like it was a battle. Ever since I started again, I'm like, I just felt guilty whenever I drank any, like a glass, 2 glasses. Sometimes it was a bottle because then you just get used to it. It was a nightmare. Like there was something in my head going like something's very wrong. And I couldn't understand. So it's not until I got out of the relationship, 3 weeks later, I had lost all interest in drinking again. And since then, I've really come off sugar as well. Like that's not for me either. And I don't really want it most of the time. So why do we do that? Back to your question. For me, I was doing all that stuff because I was in denial. I was ignoring the true Michelle and all her cries of like, this is not how I want to be living. This is not fulfilling. This is not what my heart desires. Because I was like, you are this age. You should be doing this. And you've got to be married by now. Hurry up and get a house, for God's sake. Like, get on the train that everybody else is on. And because I was just ignoring all of that, even though I was with a beautiful person, my heart was like, yeah, he's amazing. But, you know, you were meant to be together for a certain time. And there was just a big disconnect. There was something that wasn't right. And so for me, that's what it is. Like when I do anything numbing, I think I'm trying to numb that wisdom inside of myself. It's like, hey, the way we're living right now, what we're doing right now is not making me happy. How about we address that?
Because you'll have a lot of people just now saying, oh, well, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, so I'm okay. But what they're not thinking about is if we are chasing external validation, you know, if you're working yourself to every night because you think, oh, if I get the next bonus, I'm a better man. If I get a better car, I'm a better person. And a lot of times that is actually a sign of you trying to hide from who you truly are. And I'm like that now. When I look back, I'm like, oh, and I get another 100,000 downloads. Oh, that'll make me better. If I go, I'll go back to the gym. I've been saying that for months now. But once I finish this bit of work, once I do this at work, once I've done that, and I'm living a life of somebody else while life is going past me. And I really liked your explanation about how we live with the masculine and the feminine energy. Now, I interviewed a guy called Aubrey Marcus. When I used to have a question about what is masculinity to us, people used to go on about strength, power, you know, like all the male characteristics. Aubrey was the first person that ever mentioned feminine energy as a male, about how we have both the yin and the yang sort of thing. And
yeah,
how do we understand that as a man, of our feminine energy and our male energy? And how do we know what are kind of the behaviors of the wounded versions of those? Because I really like how you explain the kind of behaviors and the outputs that we would have while we're living in those. But what are signs that we are not quite right in each of these bits? You know, is it chasing external validation rather than internal? Is it, you know, constantly comparing ourselves? What have you noticed in how we live out with these energies?
Yeah, great question. There was something you were saying just before that about when I get this done, then I'll be happy. When I get this done, then I'll be happy. That's what I did throughout that whole relationship. So the external chasing is wounded energy. To answer your question, I'm going to show you 2 books. So I wrote a book years ago, In Love, Become Love and Love Comes. That was like, it's about reflective consciousness. And I'm not plugging this book because I don't recommend you follow. It's a great story. It's my story, but the processes in it are outdated. The book now that I go to, but that's when I was first really discovering masculine, feminine. But the ways of working through things now are just so much more fine tuned and faster, I find. So in terms of healthy masculine, feminine, wounded masculine, feminine, I was praying for a book. I recently went to the States and I was praying this is my life now, like really moving into the healthy version of these. And I just wanted a more succinct book. And so I was in California, and I found this amazing yoga studio there. And as I said before, I'm fussy. I've taught for 12 years. I'm very fussy about who I go and practice with. And this yoga studio is so good. It's Soho Yoga on Hermosa Beach in California. And the day after I got there, they're like, hey, tomorrow we've got this workshop happening, and it's Danae Logan, and she's going to do a yoga class and then do a workshop on her book called Sovereign Love. And this is the book. And this book explains it beautifully. Like the way she writes is amazing. She's studied depth psychology, so not depth. Depth is in deep. And she's got this, and it's in the book, and I'll send it through to you. I've scribbled all over this one. But it's got like healthy and wounded energies. And so to answer your question about like seeking validation is like a wounded feminine thing, but seeking externally is kind of wounded energy period, but wounded masculine. So just a few snippets, like when we're living in wounded energy, and we'll shoot back and forth between the two, but the more aware we are of healthy energies, the more we can attune to them and live by them. So wounded masculine is like aggressive, stuck in the mind, not present, cold, distant, competitive, withdrawn, bullying, struggles to communicate needs. It has to be right. I know a lot of people like that. That used to be me. Reactive, withdraws, can be narcissistic, needs to fix, afraid to fail, and ignores emotions. But the healthy masculine, which we all have, creates safety, a safe space, like what you do on your podcast. Witnesses without judgment, holds space. Again, that's what you do on your podcast. Is present without a goal, guides, has integrity and awareness, committed to the truth, listens deeply, supportive and encouraging, faces fears, is humble, so not egotistical, all these sorts of things. And wounded feminine is irrational, desperate, needy, manipulative, insecure, and as you mentioned before, seeks external validation, chases, obsessives, as a victim, critical, people-pleasing. But then the healthy version is more trusting of self and our inner wisdom, loving, playful, expressive, heart-centered, surrendered, loves to connect and collaborate, creative, vulnerable, compassionate, sensual, vibrates with the energy of nature, connected to source, authentic, grounded. So I'll send those through to you because she's got a page in the book with them listed beautifully. But yeah, so I mean, anybody that's curious, I'd just go straight to that book and her Insta. Like, it's just summed up so well, and it's helped me just to constantly see where I'm at. And now I find that if I find myself in wounded energy, I'll be like, okay, what's the healthy version of this? And then I jump to it.
And do you find that with men, though, that when you say you're living in feminine energy or you're in wounded energy, a reaction from men is to go, I don't have feminine energy. You know, they take it as an attack on their masculinity rather than understanding that we all have male and female energy. But do you find that's a kind of a reaction from men? It's like, don't be silly. This is too airy-fairy. This is not for me. Is that the kind of immature defense because somebody's not ready to tackle this? Or is that like, did you have that while you were changing that moment of, oh, no, I'm fine, I just need to work harder, I just need to do this? You looked outside rather than inside, and men are maybe harder to accept they have these kind of characteristics with themselves?
There certainly can be, and women certainly can as well. So I do find a lot of women have a lot of wounded masculine, and they're very shielded, and they're aggressive and they're pushy, and men, yes. I mean, because I was very prone to. So masculine energy is giving, it's generous, it does stuff, it's busy, and of course that can be over the top. And when I was in wounded masculine, I was always busy. I was always busy. So I would attract in relationships, especially this last one. Our partner tends to be the opposite of us energetically. Not necessarily like naturally. Like if I'm in my masculine, the partner isn't necessarily like a core feminine. But if I'm in the masculine energy at one point with a partner, they'll be in the feminine. If I'm in the wounded masculine, he'll be in the wounded feminine. If I'm in wounded feminine, he'll be in wounded masculine. If I'm in healthy feminine, he'll be in healthy masculine. So to answer your question, when I was with my partner, I knew about this stuff. And I would just spot how feminine he was. And sometimes I would say, like, I need you to step up. I need you to step up and lead. I want to follow. I don't want to be the boss here. And yes, he would bucket that. He would say, no, I'm not. No, that's rubbish, blah, blah, blah. But he's since learned a bit about it himself. I don't know if he accepts what I was saying before. But yeah, a lot of women, like when we get in relationships, if we're stuck in this masculine, our partner will naturally go to the feminine. It's like, what's the point of helping her? She's got it. She can do it all herself, which drives us crazy. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are defensive about it. Women are defensive about it as well. But I think more and more people are learning this and understanding this. And it's, especially in my circles, because I'm like in the yoga space and people are, I think, more aware of this dialogue. So they're not so defensive around it. But I think somebody who's never really heard of it could absolutely be like, what are you calling me a girl? Like, no way.
Because I've seen that a lot of guys kind of going, no, that's the emotional stuff. That's the woman's stuff. And I was like, no, guys are like this as well. And I think we need to
I heard something recently. Sorry to interrupt you, but like it was beautiful. One man said, grown men cry. Grown men cry. And that really hit me. I thought, wow, yeah, because if if we suppress our emotions, they don't go away, kind of gain power and chase us. But if we want to stay stuck in our childhood stuff, suppress those emotions. Yeah, don't cry. But when I heard grown men cry, I thought that is so damn true.
Well, if you think about it, like when a girl cries, all her friends, like say at school, all her friends come over and check her and hug her and make sure she's okay, and they talk about it, where boys are made fun of. So you hold that in, and if you've got nowhere for you to process and deal with that, you're going to fire it out by throwing punches or chase these imaginary shiny objects outside because you don't know how to deal with this raw neglect. I've interviewed a few people who have talked about reparenting your inner child and finding out who you are, and and I was just kind of like, whoa, it kind of, I think we all get to, I don't remember the exact quote, but there's two basically you die twice in your life. The first time when you realize you're not going to live forever, and then when you actually die. And I think I've just come to the realization. I'm just turned 41 recently, and I'm just like, is this it? I might have potentially another 35 years. I might lose my parents, and that terrifies me because they're the only, like, I've lost the friendships I had. People have moved on, married, kids, and I don't know what I want from life. And I'm not moving on, and it terrifies me, the fact that I might not have that life that I expected at this age. And now I'm like, what do I want to do? And if I could turn this into, I don't know, like a place for people to come to find themselves, to change, to become better people, to become the person they want to be, that's my mission now in life, I think. And I can't wait to do that for other people. And I love that when you created your project, you did the exact same thing. And I remember there was a post you said, I didn't like colour, but I used to love it. I didn't like lingerie, so I started to wear it again. I didn't like to do X, so I started to do it again. And, I love that sense of you rediscovered who you are. How do we start
Yeah, well,
doing
I think
that?
a lot of the things I did love all that stuff, but I just didn't give myself time for it because I'm like, that's not important. Getting ahead is important.
Right.
You have to be safe and secure. You've got to get all the safety stuff because I didn't feel safe ultimately. I needed external stuff to make me think that I was worth something and that I could then go and live my life because everything was set. But that's just not the path that I'm meant to be living. So, what did you say? How did I rediscover all of that?
Yeah, because a lot of guys are like, okay, I want to be better. I want the more time with the kids. I want more time with X, Y, Z. But again, they're not dealing with themselves. How do we find out the things, because they're buried within us, the things that gives us the
Mm,
smile, the things that makes us laugh, the things that makes us feel like little kids again when we're doing them, like riding bikes with the kids, and suddenly you go, oh my god, that was amazing, because it reminds you of yourself
yeah.
as that age. How did you find that? Did you journal? Was it meditation? You talk about prayer a lot, is how did you
I
start
love that you
that
just said
journey?
that. Okay. I love that you just picked up on that. Um, I'm smiling because this is really me. Um, I grew up in a very religious household, like strictly, staunchly Catholic, and it crushed me. I'm not against any belief system. I'm not against any religion, but I think that we've got to discover what's right for us and what feels right for us. And so there was all these rigid rules and like anger if you didn't follow it, and there was punishment and all this sort of stuff. And that never resonated with me. I didn't like it. I hated it actually. However, I'm incredibly devoted to something I can't see, very devoted to the energy that my creator, whatever you want to call it. I feel incredibly connected. I feel very guided. So for me, discovering Michelle, I just tuned into that through prayer. And I don't pray in any particular way. I just chat like I'm chatting to you now. So I tend to just wake up in the morning and sort of say hi to my creator and just ask what wants to come through me right now. I believe that we're all channels. I believe that we're channeling this energy that wants to be expressed through us. And then I'll pray for things that I want, and then I will ask, like, hey, just give me some signs. Tell me if I'm on track. Tell me what I should be doing. Because I was so much living in what I thought I should be doing based on other people's beliefs. I had to just drop all of that and go, okay, none of that worked. Like, please show me another way. What am I supposed to be doing for me? Just me and my creator. And so I don't follow a religion or anything, but I'm just devoted to this energy. And so for me, it was prayer, and then I had to learn how to surrender and really trust. And so trusting that I was on track. So I would start to get images. Like La Femme came through as an image. And I was like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. It's really pretty. It's sexy. It's naughty. It's rebellious, but it's like the energy was very, very powerful. I was like, this wants to come out of me. But I was so confused because I'm like, well, I haven't seen this before. Nobody's doing this. What is this? I don't know what it is. So when you and I wanted to chat at first, I'm like, I'm still not clear. I don't really know what this is. It took the second photo shoot for me to go, oh, this is what it's all about. It's about the healthy feminine and masculine that wants to come through. It's about us tuning into who we really are and like, fuck the conditioning. Fuck what anybody else is doing. Who cares if you've lost everything in your 40s? Start again. Great. It's an awakening. And it's about, yeah, for me, just tuning into this energy and then asking, okay, who am I really? What do I love? And I just find that I'll get answers through images. I'll get answers through just a knowing that comes through. I'll get answers through other people. Like people will just start to say things. And if I hear something 2 or 3 times, I'm like, oh, right. Like if, hear a book 3 times in a week, I'm like, oh, I got it. Thanks. Like I meant to read that book. Thanks. Or, uh, things that bring me joy. So, like, I remember I was teaching yoga not so long ago, And I was like, and just this little voice inside of me, I was in the middle of teaching a class, and this voice said to me, I want this. I want this. And it was a really sad version of me because I realized I hadn't been giving myself time, and I wanted yoga for me. And so that's, then I took myself off to the US and I found a beautiful yoga studio and I did heaps of yoga for me. And I was lit up and I was so happy, and it just brought me so much joy. But another way of answering your question. So for me, it was prayer, and then just really handing it over, learning to really hand over and just trust that energy that I believe in wants me to evolve and wants me to have fun here, like on the planet, and drag a lot of people along with me. But also plant medicine came into it as well. So I did it. Mushrooms came into my life like a couple of years ago, and I did a meditation with mushrooms, which I found profoundly healing. It healed layers of grief, and then it started to really show me who I was as well.
And do you find, because you've talked in a few posts about tackling our shame, dealing with the grief, dealing with the pain, how do we start tackling that? Because that can be such an emotional roller coaster. I mean, because my sister's got kids, and when suddenly I was playing computer games with them, and we're playing, like chasing each other when we're out a walk with the dogs and stuff, and we're doing all these silly games, and I was like, really opened up my kind of like love of fun again, and being the sense of wonder and answering their questions and doing all the kind of fun stuff with them. But it also started making me feel sad that I had lost that. I had done maybe a bad thing when I was younger. I had hurt somebody's feelings. I had whatever it was, and all these kind of emotions were coming back up. How do we start dealing with the shame, the pain, the exhaustion, when we actually are giving ourselves a chance to be open to it? How did you deal with that? And how did you find a way of understanding that you accept love, that you can change and become that person again? How did you deal with these kind of feelings initially?
I knew when initially, like two and a half odd years ago, when my life really changed, I thought, okay, I feel like I'm going to have to grieve for about 4 months. I just felt like it was going to be 4 months. So what I did, I would just cry it all out and just really sit in the depth of my sadness, with all the I just couldn't, I had mornings where I woke up going, I can't see how this is ever going to get better. Just really dove into that. So I really allowed myself. I didn't try to busy myself from it. I was busy working, but say I'd wake up and cry. I'd go to work and I'd serve. I'd come home and I'd cry. I'd go to work. I'd come home and I'd cry. In every break, I'd come home and I'd cry. And I'd cry as whenever I could, I just sat with what was happening and the pain of it all. And then, so it did take a good 4 months. And then, as I mentioned, I had some plant assistance to get the rest of it out to a point. But then I discovered breathwork. So breathwork, it took me into my subconscious, and then again it took out layers. So I was really lucky that I could test out both. So I just did it by myself, but whatever was left that was really, really deep, I got to try plant medicine, which was phenomenal. But then breath work was really, really helpful because I thought plant medicine is a bit of a commitment, like you're looking at hours and hours there. But breath work you can do in an hour. And I love that because I was like, okay, I can do that in a work break. I can do that when I get home from work. And so I really dove into a lot of breath work for myself to dig up whatever else was there. And what I discovered in that process of because it taps you into your inner wisdom, that helps to resolve things, I found. So it dug up the emotions that I got to express. So I wasn't storing anything anymore. But then it would feed me the wisdom. Once I'd be crying it out or screaming it out and then crying it out, because breath work, I like to scream at the end of the journey. It's just a big emotional, energetic release. And then I cry most of the time. And then I get this wisdom. And when it's like, when it's coming from the head and from intellect, if you're to write stuff down, it could be pages. But when it's wisdom, I find it's like a sentence, 3 words, but it's profound and it's life changing.
It really
So
just
breathwork,
connects with you. Yeah.
yeah, breathwork got me there. So it got me the rest of the way. So that's how I dealt with it. It's like I couldn't think myself free. I had to really go deep into my subconscious and breathe it out, feel it out, cry it out, scream it out, and then receive the wisdom, which took me full circle. It was like, what do they call it? Like radical forgiveness, like understanding it from all angles, and to a point where there's like, oh, there's nothing to forgive. I see if other people are involved, I see the innocence and they're part of it. And if it was just me, I see full circle. Like if I'm stuck in the like what I did wrong, I got to see how it wasn't my fault at all. I hope that makes sense. Did that
No, it makes a
how
lot of
I dealt with
sense
all
because
the guilt and the grief and the shame?
I think we all kind of deal with it in our own way. And I think a lot of times that's why people use these kind of substances or like work or whatever, is to avoid dealing with that. And I remember my brother saying to
Yeah,
me years ago, crying's good if you're upset, just let it out. And I remember thinking, oh, it was almost like permission for a boy to cry. Because, you're meant to be tough, strong, masculine,
yeah,
all the silly stuff that we think as kids. And I can
yeah.
remember like finding out about, I have OCD, and somebody telling me about using breath work to control that. And when you're feeling anxious, to, like deep breathing, box breathing, all these kind of things, you're like, whoa. And I know what you mean, that moment of sometimes I come out of a podcast and go, whoa. And I just have that moment that hits me. And it's like a fully formed sentence that the universe is going, here you go. And I think I kind of had one just now
Yeah.
about what we were discussing. And I was just like, how I feel like sometimes I come in as a wee boy. I'm always terrified to do these because I always feel nervous, anxious. And by the end
Mm,
of it, I feel like I'm ready to take on the world by having the curiosity, the journey that we go on during the podcast. It probably sounds a bit out there, but for me, that's that moment of
mm-mm.
I see that transition. And I think that's maybe what you do with the project is you talked about, you didn't use lingerie as your enjoyment lingerie. That sounded wrong. You used it in its other ways,
No,
but
I get you.
you've turned the project into ladies finding their divine, sacred, feminine, beautiful selves again. And that's how you're I was going to say
Yeah.
exposing it through
Yeah,
the
just
project. But do you find that
yeah.
a project like that helps us? Not so much tackling it and just sitting with our problems. We are actually going on a journey to discover ours by having a project. Do you think we all need a project?
Hmm. Oh my God, you said so many good little snippets there. Like when you just were
That's my
talking
problem.
about being anxious before every, I love it though. Being anxious before every podcast, but you do it anyway. I mean, how much growth every single time? Because, growth is just not in our comfort zone. I love that. I'm such a big fan of that. And I say that to my yoga students all the time. It's like, guys, you're growing. You're uncomfortable. Good. Stay with it. You're growing. You're changing. We want to evolve. At least our spirit does. Um, there's another little saying that I really, really keep with me all the time is that our lower self wants to stay the same or go back to the past, but our higher self always wants to grow and evolve and expand. And that doesn't happen without discomfort.
I
So you
love that.
reminded me of that just now. I know, right? Um, so, in terms of do we need a project? When I wrote that first book, In Love, I did a meditation a couple of years later, and uh, what came through was like, there's another book, and I thought, oh, what about? Because I'm not a writer, like I'm a conversationalist. I like a chat conversationalist, so that my book is very like conversational. It's a story, and then like lots of learnings. But I was told there's another book, and I started to write it, but I'm like, I can't write a book until I am the finished result. So I'm like, I'm not the finished result of this next thing. And it was something to do with abundance and self-worth and whatever. And then I realized, like, after I'd started La Femme, I'm like, this is the book. I don't want to write a book anymore. I want to tell it in images and pictures. So in terms of having a project, well, healthy feminine energy loves to collaborate. And so for me, it really helps my growth in what I'm doing and trying to move into the healthy versions of these energies to have this ongoing project to keep me in check. It's like, okay, I want to post for La Femme now, today. So where am I at? Am I neglected? Am I loving my life? Do I do things every day that bring me joy and make me happy and give me pleasure? Or am I trying to seek my joy and happiness and pleasure through a man or through sugar or through, working too much? So, because, every time I go to work, I'm very lucky. People love to be there. They love what I teach and it makes them feel happy. They leave feeling better about themselves. So I'm very fortunate that I have a job where I'm doing what I love, but I'm constantly getting appreciation and gratitude. And, Michelle, you're amazing. So I'm like, and I've got to watch that because I'm like, I can't go to that to feel good about myself. So if I'm really overdoing it, I'm like, I think maybe I'm getting my dopamine hits from there a bit. So I've got to really tune in when I'm posting for La Femme and go, okay, what am I writing about today? Because it's got to be something that I'm experiencing. It's got to be something that I'm living for me to post it. Otherwise, I'm not going to talk about it. So, yeah, having a project is really helpful for me for that ongoing project. Keeps me in check.
It's time for a quick break. There are millions of potential products to buy, so how do you know which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Simple. You go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and explore those that will transform and improve your life. You'll find deals, listener exclusives, and special offers with some great companies. Recommendations are 100% honest and only on items Ian has tried or believes in. The companies showcased will make you a better man in all areas of your life. Simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and level up.
That's what I was going to ask was like, how do you avoid, because when you have that project, how do you take it and do good into the world and not use it as a way of, this is now my shiny toy, my external validation to seek? Because the pictures are beautiful. You have these amazing friendships. It's helping so many women, and there's so many comments from guys about how it's helping them figure out in their own lives. And obviously, you get the odd moron and stuff like that, but we all do. But
we don't. It's funny, we don't. I blocked like 2 guys, I think, at the very start, but I wasn't being clear on about what I was posting. My messaging wasn't clear. But we get such respect for posts. There's some pictures on my personal page, which is public, because I'm trying to let people know to come over to the private page. But no, we don't. We don't get disrespect. Like, it's beautiful.
I love that because I remember when I got my first negative comment and I was like, oh, end of the world. And I was suddenly thinking, that's my inner child going, no, this is why we don't put our head out the parapet or whatever it's called.
I get you.
We'll get shouted at, people will make fun of us. And then, like you're saying, your higher self was going, come on. We can do this. Let's just learn from this. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, like leading yourself out of it. And I think that's, when I first seen it, I was like, oh, beautiful woman, lingerie, all right, okay. And then I started reading it, I was like, that makes sense, and I understand that. And I love how you space it with quotes that really that shows you the deepness that you've had in it. But how do you find you've changed as a person? Because you work with some amazing women through it. How do you find your understanding of friendship, leadership, the collaboration? How do you think you've changed and they've changed as people by taking part in this?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Again, your questions are so loaded. So just before that, which I love, you were saying, how do I not go there to seek external validation and get my dopamine hits kind of thing? And then how do we grow? Firstly, with the dopamine hits, like, it's funny, like, I've had to watch it. Sometimes I've been about to post and I've had to check myself because I can feel, where's the depth here? What are you saying? What are you doing? And I've had to like reset and just pull back because I was about to post for attention. Because I wanted a bit of attention, and because it's easy if you're going to be posting lingerie. But it's like, and then I've had to check in going, no. What's the intention of this page? The intention of this page is for healing and growth. And because when my relationship finished and I was like, I'm not where I wanted to be, I was like, I want to take my life from here to here. How do I want to grow massively, and I want to see massive change. And I have, and I'm really happy with where I've come to. There has been a lot of, and I like results. I want to see results. And so like for me, I had all these things that I want to tick off, and I'm like, yeah, I'm there. So when I post, I want to make sure I'm seeing the growth in my posts as well. And so in terms of the healing for myself and the other women, yeah, it's massive. So when we do these photo shoots, like we have panic attacks because we're not models. Like it's not about modeling. Like I'll wear stockings in the shoots because I've had a lot of problems with varicose and spider veins. And just so happens before each of the shoots, I've had lots of injections in my legs to kill off these veins. And so I'm like battered and bruised and like veins everywhere. So you'll never see me without stockings, and that's why. So, and then like all of us, Tennille, she said something beautiful. Actually, all of the girls have said beautiful things to me before the shoots about their vulnerabilities. Some of them, I'll say them in general. One of the girls once was at the first photo shoot. We had about 7 girls there. And she said the whole time, and see, I couldn't tell. All the women looked so confident and amazing. But then they came to me after and was saying, the whole time my head was saying, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. Look at the other girls. They're beautiful. You're not in shape like them. Look at you. You got bruises everywhere. You can probably see your scars, all this sort of stuff. And so they had to like push through that voice in their head. So it's healing in a way that I find that the body just holds so much of our old rubbish. They say, what the body is a subconscious mind. Yeah. And so it comes out with our injuries and illnesses and all like self-beliefs about our body from what we're storing. And so I love as well that La Femme is lingerie for the fact that it forces us to address these crazy body fears that we've got, these crazy self-beliefs. Like I'm a queen at it. And so for me, each time I do a photo shoot, I'll have a panic attack for sure. Like before the shoot's going, what am I doing? Like why am I going to reveal my body? Don't you know there's all these flaws? And like, we all say like, I can't see them in anyone else. Even if a woman for me has like, she's like bigger woman, voluptuous, maybe she's got cellulite, maybe she's got scars, whatever. For me, I don't care. I just see her beauty. But normally the women themselves, we can see everybody else's beauty, but not our own. And so it's so healing because we've got to address that. We're like, and not when we see the photos in the end, we're like, oh, that looks okay. I don't know what I was really worried about. It looks okay.
Because I love how...
So, yeah, there's so many layers.
Like everybody else is probably saying the exact same thing going, oh, I wish I had her hips, or I wish I had her breasts, or I wish I looked like that, I wish I had... And we're all sitting thinking, the others are so confident, and we're like, we're in the exact same boat.
We all are, which is what I love. I really love it. I had so many women contact me before the last shoot going, look, I'm watching you. I want to do it. I'm just not ready. But I'll come to the next one because I was saying to myself, okay, Michelle, let's just get through this second photo shoot. You don't have to do it again. Like, let's just get this one done. And then all these women were saying, I'll come to the next one. I'm like, oh, damn it. Okay, there's got to be another one.
Well, that's the universe again pushing you to do it. It's not. It's right? You're helping so many people.
Comfortable.
Well, I mean,
there's women, of course, that have been sexually abused, and we've had that on the shoots as well. We've got to be so careful. I say to the girls, like, if you're in any of the group photos, that's going to go up on the internet. So if you just be behind the camera, don't get in front of the camera if you don't want to be on a page, and you can just have your personal photos done, so you can have your own little breakthroughs. It's just for you. That's fine. So I've had one woman that really couldn't be seen because of sexual trauma in the past, so she's not been on the page. But I'm very lucky that I feel safe in my body. I'm very lucky, but that's not common. A lot of women don't feel safe, so it brings up a lot of that as well.
I find that really helpful because I love how you have that ability to, if it's your journey and that's all you want to do, use the project to help you change your life, and then go and become a version of the person you want to be. If you want to be part of it and be part of the whole journey, like the group journey, join us. We'll put it on the website, etc. And I think that's why for women this is helping, because it breaks down that stereotype of looks and you have to have a certain body and a certain this and that. Because some of the girls I've dated, some of the most beautiful people ever in my eyes, like I couldn't get enough of them. And they were sitting there going, I don't like my hips, I don't like my nose, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're gorgeous. And in my head, and then it made me realize how no matter what age a woman is, they automatically are being judged. Whereas that's why shed, have you ever heard of like the men's shed program, where guys would get together to fix lawnmowers or play cards or pool, and it makes them sit and talk in that. And it's just friendship for guys, because we're always the strong, dominant, you lead, but you don't ever talk about your problems. So suddenly putting guys together to fix something makes them talk. Whereas this version that you're doing is helping women deal with that deep down, am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I that all the bullshit marketing that we give people that you're not enough, you have to have more. And it really hits home when I think about it, like how much you're helping people. And I think you're going to have to do a guy's one as well.
It's so funny. You're not the only person that said that. And I've been thinking, oh my God, you're so loaded. What did you just say that really struck me? Yes. Okay. It's funny because, the page is mine. And so I see all the comments. And so whenever I post, if ever I post someone, if I post it like a slimmer woman who's like perfect, it's like, people like it and admire it. They might read what I say, cool. But if I post a woman who's more voluptuous, men in particular, and as I said before, they're respectful, they go nuts over her. And it's so funny what women think is attractive and what men think is attractive. It seems to be polar opposite. So women is
definitely
always want to be really skinny, and they're like, the skinnier I am, the better. Like no lumps, no bumps, no bruises, no tan lines, no scars. And what I see with the comments on the page is that's not how we're received by men. Men are like, they want more volume. They want like something more. I don't even know how to say it, but it's like they're not going for the skinny girls. They're not going for perfection. And also, this is what you just reminded me of. Before the last photo shoot, I had some women so close to coming, and then they pulled out at the end. And because they didn't feel ready and they didn't feel beautiful and they didn't feel blah, 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 blah. And it's not about beauty and it's not about how you look. It's how you feel, and the journey we're on about how we feel. Like, so we wanted to feel good in our skin, good being us. And it was the most beautiful and the most perfect, the most visually stunning women that were the most self-critical. They had the worst self-image and they pulled out.
And that's probably why they spend so much on so long on their appearance, because they believe that they have to be a certain grade to be valued in life. And a lot of guys we want natural. We want them to be happy. We want them to be themselves. We don't want them to portray themselves in a certain way. I've gone on dates recently, and I can feel the person is trying to be somebody else, and I don't need that in my life, and I'd rather not attract somebody or date somebody who is going the way that I want to be coming back from. how do we? So there's probably a is how are the for people who are interested in the shoot. How could you explain about how the shoot goes and what happens on the day, etc. And
Yeah.
B, do you find that once people are coming out of it confident, how do you explain to them to use that confidence, but how to put boundaries in their lives, how to keep moving in that direction? Not just take a bit of confidence and go, your ass looked amazing in that photo or whatever it is. How do you then go, I want you to go tackle the world. I want you to stop living through work. I want you to go and find yourself again. So how do you use the shoot on the day? But then how do you take that confidence, self-belief, self-esteem to then level up in the journey of life? And yes, I hate myself for using that
Yeah.
for reference.
What, level up?
Yeah, every time everybody uses level up, because obviously next level guy. So I'm just whenever I use it,
I love it.
I feel dirty using it.
Oh, I love it. No, I really like that term, level up. Okay, so how does it run and how do we? Yeah, I get you. I love to take little behind the scenes videos and photos. So the first photo shoot, I hired a beautiful house for like half a day. So we're in and we're out, and it was amazing. And I had a photographer because I've done a lot of events with yoga and breath work and all that sort of stuff. And I always get a photographer, but then behind, like I'll always have my phone camera in the background as well because there's so much that the photographer can capture. But then I kind of like both angles. And so I already knew from doing lots of events that on the photo shoot, the photographer can only capture so much. But then I wanted the phones on to capture all the other stuff because all the behind the scenes stuff is so fun. And it's real, because people are posing for a camera, but behind the scenes, it's like we're just being ourselves. And we're trying to be ourselves in the poses, but it brings through the character if you've got videos running. So what I did for the first shoot was I had two photographers. One was the behind the scenes photographer capturing all the fun stuff in the background. And I had my phone on like a time lapse, so it showed the fast videos as well, and then the main photographer. So so people, and I was posting like a lot of little snippets behind the scenes sort of stuff so people could see, but I put it on my story rather than the main page. And people could see, oh, this is them getting their makeup done, or this is them changing, which was really funny, by the way. I've got to tell you that little story there. When we did the first photo shoot, I had like 7 girls, and they were all there to help me. I said, guys, I need to heal this regret, and this is how I'm doing it, like through not neglecting myself anymore, and this is how I'm doing it. Learning how to take care of myself, learning how to do my makeup. I really didn't know, all that sort of stuff. And so they said, cool, we'll come and help you do that. And so we're all quite in the lounge room, like trying to be all careful with how we put our lingerie on and cover ourselves up. But after that sort of first lot of photos and we wanted to do an outfit change, it was just like we just stripped off. Like we were so comfortable by that stage that we're just like, oh, that's it. We'll just take it off and just put on the new stuff. We didn't care anymore. So it's like the energy just gets, it was just so friendly and people felt so comfortable so quickly. And mind you, none of the girls knew each other in that first photo shoot. I don't know, I've got this thing where I can put people together and it just works. I've done it all the time with my friends. Like I've always had varied friends and I just invite everyone over and they all get along. I just know who's going to get along. So the second photo shoot, I decided, well, that was for my 48th birthday. So I decided that I'd give myself a birthday gift and I wanted to stay in this beautiful beach house. It was in the area that I grew up at, Umina Beach. And so I got this big house and I wanted to make a weekend of it because I was like, I don't want half a day. It's a bit rushed. So I wanted a whole weekend so we could plan together. And so we just had like 4 girls and a 5th on the first night. There was one girl sort of in some of the photos, but she couldn't be in all of them because of her work. And she didn't come prepared anyway. So we had 2 photographers. We had 3 photographers for that shoot. We all stayed in this big house. And the first night we organised a photo shoot where we were literally like It was like in a lounge room, all cozy. And we were there honestly sharing why we were there. And it was honest. What's the pain point that got us on that photo shoot? What have we been struggling with in our life? Trying to move into this healthy feminine, healthy masculine energy, trying to take care of ourselves, trying to have a life that we love. And what are the challenges that we're facing with that? And so we had this beautiful share, and we had the photos taken as we were honestly sharing with each other. So that really bonded us. And the next day we got up and we did all the sunrise shots, the beach shots, the nature shots, the sunset shots. It was phenomenal. But we were really connected by that stage and we had a bit of a cry in that photo shoot because we were like, well, I got into this because my boyfriend cheated on me and I felt disgusting and horrible. And I told them again why I got into it and the different stages I've come through in that. And one thing I had to get over was people pleasing, not being liked, like waking up in the morning after I'd posted something on my public page in lingerie and seeing 5-10 people drop off my page because I've offended them. Like I used to wake up going, oh my God,
I know that
do
feeling.
I see these people? That feeling is like, I've offended them. Oh my God, what are they thinking? I hope they read the content because if they just look at the pictures, they're going to think I'm trying to some sort of porn star. Like, and now I'm just like, who cares?
But that probably is a sign that they're not ready in their own journey to understand your message or to understand what you're trying to do. And if you, I remember, was it Gary Vaynerchuk when he said, you have to feel bad for somebody that comes onto somebody's podcast, show, whatever it is, and leaves a negative comment. Doesn't just go, no, it's not for me, and leaves. They actually take the effort to log on, to sign up, to add the comment, to then and you think they're either doing it because they're hurt themselves, so they need attention, they're being bullied elsewhere in their life and they have to try to take the power back by bullying others. And there's all these and he goes into it in different versions and videos, and you suddenly think, yeah, I should feel sorry for them. And I think that's the thing is you take it as a personal slight when somebody leaves your show. Like, I know that I've had a 1-star review and I was like, oh my God, end of the world. And I was thinking, it's probably one of my exes pissed off at me, or it's this or it's that. But it took me a while to realize it's not a personal insult. My message or that interview or that version of my show was just not suitable for them. And it's difficult to kind of establish that boundary. Do you still struggle with that kind of, or are you now just like, nah, this is Michelle, this is PLF, we're taking over the world, this is what we're doing? Do you still find that struggle?
Oh, I'm going to answer that, but I want to backtrack a bit because I didn't answer the rest of your question about the girls, like post photo shoot. Like how do they? So I forgot to answer that. So I find that because this is an ongoing project and our photos keep getting, like the girls see themselves getting uploaded and they'll send me little snippets about little quotes that are resonating with them right now and tell me why, like what they're going through. So I find because it is an ongoing project and it's not like we do the photo shoot and that's done. Okay, that was a milestone. Well done. I got through it. And I saw, because, we're not young. Like, I think in the last one, I don't even know how old Alessia is, 30-something. But then you've got Lillian, who's the Brazilian. She's like 41. And then you've got Tennille, who's 46. I'm 48. So it's nice to have that milestone at these ages going, you don't hang up your boots at 30. Like you can still look after yourself and feel good in your skin in the late 40s. But post-photo shoot, because it's ongoing, it constantly taps us all into how am I growing? How am I growing? Am I really living true to this? Or am I overwhelmed and overworked again and putting myself last? So to answer that question, I think it's the ongoingness of the project and that we know that other women are wanting to get involved. The other girl, like the girls on the project, like Tennille is really big advocate. She's like, yeah, let's round up the troops. Let's get more women into this. Like, let's help them because it's huge. And Tennille's had big healings from it. So the others, so have I. Now, in terms of worried about being liked and hated and judged and for what I'm doing, that was massive for me for a very long time. Oh yeah, I thought you'd frozen. But now it's funny. I've only turned the corner. I've only turned the corner with that maybe a month ago, where I just felt it suddenly lift. I was like, I actually don't care anymore. Like, and I think it was just took time, because I really cared for a long time. I think my message is so much clearer. I think I'm really, really living my talk. Like, I'm really every day onto what life am I constantly creating for myself? And is it a life that gives me pleasure and joy every day? Yes, it is. And now also, because I've just started to make videos for the page, I'm now happier that I am explaining, because I think sometimes I'd post pictures and I didn't properly explain. And without videos, people tend to really engage with video when they can see me speaking. But because it was just pictures, they can make a snap judgment.
Yeah.
But now I think part of it was like because it would trigger people because of their stuff. And part of it was because I wasn't talking people through it. Why am I doing this? What is this? I think now, making an effort to really explain what this is all about and give the project a bit more value and respect from me. So now that I know that I'm explaining it properly and I'm much clearer on my message, and I know that I'm walking my talk, now I'm not concerned if people drop off and it's not for them. I'm not taking that personally.
Because it definitely, I've been there where you put something out and you're so proud of what you've achieved, but the message behind it, or you've maybe not thought about how others would perceive it, that suddenly when you get a negative comment, it can really feel like a knife in your back. And then suddenly you're kind of like, oh, right. And then you realize that's just, you need to shape it a wee bit differently, and that's when you see the growth in yourself. You go, oh, I'm not taking that personally. I remember I put something out, and I deal with OCD, depression, etc. And I remember putting a comment out about how to change something, and I thought this was an amazing video, and I put it on a mental health Reddit post saying this has really helped me. And somebody commented and said, another fucking podcaster that doesn't know how to deal like life when they have a mental health problem. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Because it made me
and
realize.
It's helped me.
And it helped me. And I was suddenly thinking, oh, but they're in their level of pain. I was in my level of pain. I didn't understand where they were coming from. And then I realized that maybe that was my ego needing a bit of validation rather than me genuinely try to help that person. And I was kind of like, oh, right. And that's when I realized I was getting that growth, that I was no longer taking it personally. I was trying to understand it before, and how could I make it better for the next person to help their understanding of it, or, and I was like, oh. So I think it's beautiful that you're doing that, and you're still helping them through their growth. And, like, if they need to have a cry, if they need to journal, if they come to terms with their own religious, sexual, physical, whatever it is in the past, helping them by that collaboration, that group. How do you find you've changed as a person by doing this? How if you look back at that Michelle that was burnt out, tired, hating life, to the Michelle just now that's so full of fun, love, abundance, wants taking on the world, putting out your videos, wanting to help so many people, doing another photo shoot soon. How do you resonate between the two? Do you see yourself as getting closer to the Michelle you want, or is it now opening up the avenues that you want to explore in life?
Yeah. The old Michelle I found really immature, only because I found immature because I just felt so young, because of the conditioning that I've been taught I had to live by was so like, I felt like a little girl. Like, I needed all this external stuff, and I needed this man to do all these things for me. And I'm big into, like, I'm a straight woman. Like, I don't care what other people are. But so I always talk about male and female. That's because that's where I'm coming from. Now I love the idea of a partner, but I don't rely on a man to do certain things for me. Like I'm self-sufficient. So the old Michelle I found immature, whereas like, oh, I'm just a female, so I can only do this stuff and I've got to have a man to do all the other stuff. But now, since I got the big ass kicking 2.5 years ago, well, Michelle, you're on your own. None of that's worked. It really made me grow up and go, look, I can do everything myself. I don't eventually want to. I want to collaborate with a partner, but I've got it all. Like I don't need anybody to fulfill any need. And that's not coming from a wounded place. That's coming from a more mature place. And so for now, the old Michelle and this Michelle, I just find I really having to go through all that grief and the confronting way that my life changed when it didn't go in the direction I thought it would, gave me so much depth. And that's why back to our original talk about the grief and moving through all that stuff, because I sat in it and I was like, I want to get all of this out of me so that I don't, talking relationship terms, I don't just meet another man that's the same but with a different face. I was like, I really want to get this out of me. It gave me so much depth. And so for now, the new me is like, I find myself mature, self-sufficient, but in a good way, not shielded, open, but I'm not waiting for anyone to help me or to save me. But also I have an incredible amount of depth that I wouldn't have had if I didn't go through the pain that I've been through. And I've been through other life, lots of pain points in my life that have also given me a lot of depth, but that was a big one. So from that Michelle to this Michelle, I love that I've used this as well, like you do, as you say, like, your podcast is quite healing for you. Project La Femme is constantly healing for you. It's constant therapy. So yeah, and it's a responsibility. Like I am posting vulnerable pictures of women, and it's a responsibility. Like I can't be silly with that. I've got to protect it. That's why the group is private. It's only certain things that I'll put on my public page. So I really like the woman that's coming out of me. Like I really do genuinely like who I am. I like who I've become. And I trust myself. And I love that all of this is coming from me tuning into a power that I can't see. I love that it's not all coming from my intellect. Actually, none of it's coming from my intellect. It's all coming from just being guided and handing over and just praying, okay, what's the next move for me? What do you want to do through me?
I love the little smile.
I have very long answers.
No, I love that. I love that little sort of almost like soul smile when you were kind of actually thinking about it, and then you were kind of like, I like who I have become, and you could see you're kind of just lifted up. It was that kind of like, oh, I do, and I always love these kind of reflecting questions, because a lot of times, it's talking about a book, it's talking about a film or whatever, and we don't always get a time to stop and go, geez, look how far you've come. This amazing journey, and you're like, whoa, because I can't even remember the Ian of before, but you look at your current issues, you don't think about how far you've come. So for people who are in this same boat, who are like pain, burnt out, grief, crying, can't deal with their past, broke up with a partner, whatever their personal journey is, how would you want them to tackle it again, like to go forward? If you had to give them sort of 3 steps in that journey, and how would they know they're on the right track? What are they looking for in terms of the outputs as they're changing? Is it standing up for themselves, putting boundaries in place? Is it just feeling whole again? Or is it smiling? What are signs that we're on the right track and as we change?
I don't know about everybody, but I can only speak about the signs for myself. I think you asked me two different questions in
Oh,
one.
I have a habit of that, sorry.
I'm good at catching this stuff because I think my brain works connecting the dots. So, number one, the process, like what are the steps? For me, there's a process I learned from, he's not with us now, but he's incredible. He's a man that changed his life phenomenally. Bob Proctor. Do you know Bob Proctor?
The name rings a bell and I can't think why.
Okay. He's like self-development guru, but like he came from such a beautiful, heartfelt space. So anyway, he was like always sick, always poor, always like never got anywhere. Would get fired and all this stuff, not educated, couldn't read. And he went from that to like billionaire, like running companies, and ended up teaching. He couldn't figure out how he broke through so phenomenally with money and business and wealth. And then he figured it out, and then he started to teach that. And so, he'd come through with these one-liners and just little snippets. Anytime, I could get a recording of his talks, I would listen over and over, and this is when I was going through my change. So he really helped me massively. And there's this little process that I do from him. And he said, look, if you're going through anything in your life and you can't figure it out, you don't know how to resolve this. And he gave examples of people that have had really big issues that they were dealing with. He said, here's the process. This is what you do. He's like, you get a pen and paper. You write down 10 things you're grateful for, because gratitude plugs you into source. And I'm like, whoa, that spoke to me massively. So gratitude plugs you into source. So write down 10 things you're grateful for. Then write down 3 people that you want to send love to. Like imagine source is sending love through your heart to them. Even if you're really pissed off with them, especially those people. 3 people you want to send love to. And then just spend 5 minutes in silence. Just try and go pretty blank, focus on your breath, and let the process work for you. And he's like, that's it. Just keep repeating that. So I do that. That's one little process. And I don't know how it works, but he said it will just somehow solve your problems. So I do it. And big business people have done this. And he's like, the results are phenomenal. And they really are. Like when I'm struggling with something, it gets sorted out in a beautiful way somehow. So that's a little process that I do. Prayer is something that I really never used to do before, because, as I said, I grew up in a religious home, and I just hated a lot of that because I was forced to do that sort of stuff. But for me, it never really resonated in that way. So in the last 2.5 years, I've just realized that I wasn't asking for stuff. I wasn't asking. So now I pray for what I want. So I'm focused on that. And then I hand it over and I just ask, look, if there's anything I need to be doing or not doing for this to happen, show me the way. And I ask, can it be this or better? So that's another little process that I do. And then you asked, what was the second part of your?
Well, how do
people know if
you're
they're
on the
getting
right
results?
track? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I wrote when I was back then, I'm like, okay, I'm here in my life, which wasn't where I wanted to be, and I want to be here. Like, I don't want to spend, like, I was 46 when it happened. I'm 48 now. But I'm like, I want massive growth now. I can't fuck around anymore. Like, I'm 46 and I'm like nowhere near where I thought I should be. So I need progress. I need results. I want to see, like, okay, what do I want? So I wrote down the income I wanted. I wrote down I wanted to travel every 3 months because I'm like, I knew that I needed to cut. I can work like, easy. Like working for me is no problem. But I needed to cut that. So I'm like, I need regular holidays. So I wanted to holiday every 3 months. I wanted, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And so for me, I just see, am I ticking off that stuff? And I absolutely am. So I'll pray like, okay, what are the actions I need to do? And then I will somehow get onto Bob Proctor, which is what happened. So somehow he came up on my feed and I realized, wow, this is really helping me. And if it's a health thing, something will come up on my feed that, miraculously appears, which is exactly what I need. So for me, it's like I write down where I want to be, and I'm like, am I seeing those results? And I said on one of my videos recently, like, yeah, immediately I was taking 4 holidays a year immediately. Even if they were staycations, I took action on that straight away because it was something I was fearful of doing before. I'm like, oh, how am I going to have the money for all of that? And living exactly where I wanted to live. I knew I wanted a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom storage place with all glass and a view. I'm there now. That's how I live now. But I told myself in the past I couldn't do that without a partner. I'm like, I'm doing it. And I have a partner. I've got it all to myself. So yeah, I write down the results and I make sure I'm ticking them off. And if they're not happening, then I need to change course. I need to ask again. So for me, that's, if people don't have like a vision of where they want to be from where they're at now, they're not going to know if they're getting the results. They're not going to know if the actions they're taking are getting them anywhere. So me, I want obvious results. So this year, as I said, I 3 overseas holidays, when previously my head said, well, you can only do that when you've got a partner because it's cheaper. But now I'm like, I'm getting the beautiful accommodation by myself and I'm doing everything by myself. I don't need a partner to have overseas holidays. But yeah, I'm ticking it all off. So that's the only way I can see for other people is just to ask for it, pray for it, be asked to show the way, take the action and make sure, like, check in. Am I ticking these things off my list? Got to be clear. So I've got to have a clear picture of where we want to go.
No, I love the way that you've set this up and how you've kind of set these habits to kind of work on yourself and to kind of deal with the recovery of it. Because I think a lot of people struggle, when they make a change, they kind of feel the emotions and go, oh, I'm backing off that. So they slip back into old habits. But it's like you're saying earlier, the lower version of yourself goes back where the higher version of yourself wants to go forward. And I think sometimes we need these recovery parts, like breath work, yoga, reading, journaling, visualization. For me, it was jiu-jitsu for a while. I needed some sort of mental and physical output to kind of feel connected to my body again. And now that I'm not doing it just now, I'm kind of like, and I think that's part of what I'm craving. And I think we don't have recovery methods. We seem to think it's going to go from here to here and that's going to be me fixed. We don't think about all this extra stuff coming out and going, how do you fix from that? And I love how you guys are using the photo shoots, for example, as part of that recovery process. Now you're planning another photo shoot soon. How would you want people listening? Maybe a girl, maybe a guy who's thinking, my partner would be amazing for that, or my friend, my sister, whatever it is. How do you get them? And how should people who are interested get in touch with you? What do you want to do for the next shoot? Who's it for? How do you want it to run? How do you want the brand to evolve? Because I think we're just touching the surface, and we have to do another one and really go into different things. But the next
we're going to talk about the men's one too.
Oh, definitely. I think I'll be in that probably myself.
I just don't know what you guys would wear, but okay. I do have an idea.
How do you think? Like, how would you take it from here? What? How do you want the next shoot to go? And kind of, because your first one was half day. You rented the house. The second one was a sort of expression of love for the female form in the 2 days. Are you going to take a week and are you going to run the world from this point? How are you going to evolve this and how are you going to keep improving and helping people?
Yeah. So firstly, how can they contact me? They can contact me through my public page or firstly join the page. So the Instagram page is Project La Femme, project.lafemme. But you can, like, my public page is michelle.roseyoga. I'm sure you're going to have that in the show notes. So just follow both of those. I'm super friendly, so just send me questions, ask me questions about any of this. And in terms of the photo shoot, well, I'm in Sydney, Australia. I have had people contact me from overseas. The next photo shoot, I see it in visuals. I see it again in a house, but I see it more in the mountains. We've got Blue Mountains close to Sydney, so something quite green might be there. But so anybody can come, any woman at this stage. If there's enough male interest, then I'll definitely do something for men as well. And it's not about, I know that the women in the photos do happen to be, I've had a lot of comments that, they're all models. None of us are models. Like one girl in the first photo shoot, she has now done a bit of modeling, and another girl has done a tiny bit. But that's not what it's about. It's about, it's about healing. It's about addressing our self-relationship and our relationship and our opinion of our bodies and this self-neglect. So anybody who's on that journey and who feels the call, they'll feel the calling, they'll feel the pull towards it, and a whole lot of fear, it's for them. Anybody who's feeling a bit of curiosity, it's for them, even if it takes them a while to actually jump on board. And then for the women that are overseas, I'm figuring that out because we can organize a shoot for women who are like, I've had some people in Scotland actually ask me. So I've suggested to some women, like if I don't go over there and do it with them, we can figure out how to, like, I can tell them how to organize it, and then I'll get them on the page and they can just get involved. So if there's enough interest like that, like I'm super creative. And so we'll figure it out. I may not be with them. Otherwise, just fly over here because the next one will be in Sydney.
I love how you're kind of already thinking, how can I take this global? How can we help so many people out with this? And I was trying to think of a catchphrase just now, and in my head was going, expose yourself to find yourself. And then I thought, that's maybe not a catchphrase to use.
Can see guys in jackets. It's funny because Tennille said one of her friends, Tennille's one of the girls, she said one of her friends was like, she's trying to wrap her head around it. And this was before I was doing the videos to explain. She's like, oh, well, if it's all about like loving yourself now and like how you feel about yourself now, you can do that without the lingerie. And Tennille's like, oh, yeah, exactly. So she's like, so you're there now. She's like, I'm totally there now. Like, I love who I am. I totally accept myself as I am. Tennille's like, awesome. Well, come with us on the weekend. Come to the photo shoot. I'd love you to be in it. She's like, oh, God, no, because my body, this is wrong and this is wrong and I'm not there yet. And all these problems started coming out with her self-image. And so Tennille's like, that's why we do it in lingerie, to confront that shit. Because it's like, you can say that you're feeling good about yourself and, well, that just says you're feeling good about yourself. But when you remove all the layers of clothing, then a whole other part comes out. Then a whole other story comes out. It's like, how good are you really feeling about yourself? Because then it's very confronting. It's
like
so
taking
vulnerable.
the armor off, isn't it? It's the taking off the ego, self-deflecting armor to show the real you.
Yeah. It's like I can feel super confident in a skivvy that comes up to here and a turtleneck jumper and like covered from head to toe. But yeah, you put me in lingerie and I'm like, whoa, okay. Whew. Here's all the stuff that I thought about my body that I didn't have to. Or, when it's summertime, you got to like strip off to go to the beach. It's like, sometimes it's like, okay, how am I feeling in my body right now? And quite often the way that we're feeling in our body is like, it's coming, like it can just show a whole level of, there's a whole level of stuff that it just doesn't come to mind if we're not revealing that to others, like at the beach or to a new partner and we're getting undressed or in lingerie. Do you know what I mean? Did that make sense?
A lot more. I was just thinking just now about how guys are always meant to be, well, you're used to having your top off when you're playing, like T-shirts versus skins at football or whatever, and I'm thinking guys we're exactly the same. We're judged on muscles, we're judged on, and a lot of times we're afraid to take our tops off because things are bouncing maybe more than the next guy, or and sometimes it's like when we go to the gym, we're like, oh, I can't go ask that big muscular guy how to eat properly or whatever. He'll laugh at me. Whereas sometimes they're the nicest people because they know that journey themselves, and they're more than happy to give, but we immediately go, oh, hell no. We judge ourselves based against them, and they're just happy we're on our journey. They're happy to help us.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see the male and the female versions of that. Whereas, again, it's come back to
Yeah.
looks, where guys, it's you're afraid of being thought of silly and stupid. And yeah, it's really hitting home, and it's making me realize like how I spoke to a lady called Elise Michaels, and she was saying how you don't lose how to have fun, you don't lose how to be yourself or the part of yourself. It's still there. You just don't know how to find it again, and you just need to eliminate the stuff that's not working for you and find the stuff that is working for you. And I'm leaving a job in September, and I think it was part of like mutual severance scheme, and it was like society was telling me, no, you need to go do something more now. You need to stop living through life through work. You need to go and find yourself again, and take the podcast and stop spending weeks in the doldrums and not posting. Get out there because it's helping people, and and I think that's how you're doing it with the project. You're kind of realizing now that it's not just you that is healing. You're healing a lot more people by telling your story. And you're kind of like, it really hits you. You kind of go, whoa. And I think sometimes you get so wrapped up in it being perfect, you don't just do, because one person might find that random post that you don't think is good enough that changes their life, that kind of gets them on their journey. Is there a part
and do you
of
ever
this?
find like,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I found that there've been moments where I'm like, oh, I don't think I really need to do this. Like, I think it's done, or maybe it's not serving anyone, or it's run its course. And that's when, like, I think the universe sends through the people, like, and they'd be like, oh my God, I can't tell you how much this has helped me. Thank you so much for doing this. I think it's amazing. I love what you're doing. Keep going. This has helped me this, and this way. You're so brave. Like, you've really made me reflect on a few things here. And it's funny. Like, I think when we realize it's not self-service, when moments like that happen, where it's like the universe will start to send people. All of a sudden, it's happened to me. Like, numerous people will come through telling me, I'm watching, but I'm terrified. I've got, my images about my body are actually now affecting my marriage. And like, this one particular woman is absolutely stunning. She's just got a lot of image problems. And she said, it's affecting my marriage because my husband's like, oh God, I'm just so sick of hearing this. And the universe just sends them through just when I think, oh, I think I'm done with this now. It's just like, we are just warming up. Like, no, you ain't going anywhere. Keep going.
The sad thing is, he's probably besotted by her. Like he
Yes.
He'll howl at the moon. Like he'll go in, and then if he sees her in an underwear or coming out the shower, he'll be sitting there going, I can't believe how lucky I am. She makes me feel so happy. And she's probably sitting there thinking, oh, I hate this, I hate that. And, I remember my mom saying that one day about her legs, her varicose veins on her legs. The back before they tried to remove them surgically, and it had made these big swellings in her legs and stuff. And I remember her saying,
that was a mess back then.
I was like, do you not feel bad about that? And I remember her saying, no, because it's a sign that I've had kids. It's a sign that I've gone through motherhood. It's a sign that, and that was kind of like, and I'm worried about some keloid scarring I've got. I'm worried about, like just now, how I carried on eating like I'm still training jiu-jitsu. So I ate for like 5 people, and I trained like I was sitting on the sofa all day during COVID. And suddenly I was like, hey, I've got breasts here. What's up? But I'm not a different person. I can hit the gym again. I think we beat ourselves up because we see these models and all these kind of things on TV. They're just as unhappy. They've got their own demons and stuff. And I love how you're changing lives by doing this. And I think that's like the universe reminding you, you are doing good. You are doing amazing things, and you should be super proud of what you're doing. And I think we've got to do a
Thank
round
you.
2 and really push it. But is there an area of it that you don't feel like you get enough to talk about? Is there a question that you've always wanted to, or an area that you've always wanted to mention that you don't feel gets enough attention or understanding, perhaps?
Not really. No, because I'm really good at like I'll be making the videos now, so I'm
You feel
happy in
okay?
front of a camera.
I remember somebody saying to me,
I'm like, I really need to express that.
I remember somebody saying to me that if you have that question, Google it because 10,000 other people will have it. But if you're a creator, put a video out on it because you'd be amazed at how many people will be looking for that answer. And I think that's why it's so
Oh,
good
I
you're
love
doing
that.
videos, that you're doing videos now as well. And I think that's going to help so many people because they can resonate with that. They can understand where you're coming from. But it also helps you grow the vision and understand it in a deeper level and change how you're doing it.
You would explain it.
How do you want people to take from this? Like, how do you want people to resonate with this, to take this message? Because I'm wary of how much time of yours I've used that, but how do you want people to
I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat. I just keep going.
how would you want them to grow from this, or to change, to kind of to take your message from this, to follow Project La Femme, to do all these amazing things you've talked about? How do we then take that going forward and improve ourselves?
I would love people to really just reflect on what brings me joy, what brings me pleasure, and am I fitting at least something of that into every day? Because if we're not, we might be drinking too much, we might be eating sugar, we might be into porn, we might be into some sort of numbing, because I don't think we can really honestly suppress what lights us up and just not do it without us turning to something else. So I'd love them to tune into that. And if they don't know, if they're like, oh, I don't really know what brings me joy, if they've got some sort of a belief in, a higher power, ask to be shown. And if not, ask to be shown anyway. Ask something. Ask yourself. Ask your inner wisdom. Like, okay, well, speak to yourself. Like, tell me. Like, your subconscious knows. So turn to that. But I honestly think that's the big driver, is like, don't think that you're going to be happy later. You got to be happy now. Like, so for me, I'm looking at every day, what can I do that brings me pleasure and joy? Because if I don't, I'll just eat sugar, probably. Every weekend, where's the me time? What's lighting me up, giving me joy? Because like I'm dating, so it's like I don't want to then look to a man to give me all of that, because we often do. I'm like, no, I have to have a full cup to go into the dating. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. I'm going to look to him for all my dopamine hits and then get pissed off when he doesn't give them to me. And then look at the maybe the 4 holidays a year like I did. Like, how many holidays are you taking? Have you scheduled them in? When I got to California, like, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was like, oh, wow, this is so amazing. I'm having such a good time. And I looked at my bank accounts and I'm like, I could actually book in the next flights for the next holiday now. So I emailed my travel agent going, okay, in a few months' time, I want to do these countries. Can you look at flights for me, please? And I pay for them the next day. I'm like, it's locked in there. So I honestly think we just got to look in daily, every weekend, and every few months, like, what brings you pleasure and joy? Make sure you lock it in. Number one, like, put yourself number one, your happiness number one. Because otherwise you're not going to make anybody else happy. You neglect yourself, you neglect everybody else.
Really hit home, because I remember reading somewhere that, like, say there is a God and you turn up and, he sits there and says, there isn't a hell, but your version of hell is to meet the person that you could have been if you took every opportunity, if you lived your life like you really wanted to. He took the opportunities, he did all the training, He went for the girl that he was interested in. He went to the gym when he said he was going to, rather than stayed on the couch feeling sad. All these, you've seen the person that you could have become. And I think that when I heard that, I was like, whoa, that is a version of hell. To see what you could have become.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
you mentioned about returning from, the hardness and aggressiveness, and a return to our soft nature. Do you find that's the most terrifying regret in life? Getting to 70, 80, and then looking back thinking, this is my retirement and I don't have time, energy, finance, love of life enough to go and do the stuff that I told myself I would, and I've spent all my years burning myself out with work. Suddenly now I'm like, because I see obituaries at work, so-and-so's passed away, they get a paragraph, and they've spent 20, 30, 40 years at the university, and they get maybe 2 paragraphs, nothing about the person, just what they've done. And you think, they've given their whole life and that's it. Your job will be advertised before you're even buried, once you pass away. Do you think, is that the most terrifying thing, that there's all these men and women not living a life till suddenly it's too late and they can't then go on and become who they want to be?
Yeah, for some reason when you were saying that, something's really changed my life popped up. So I'm just going to answer it in this way. I think we can live in fear and scarcity or love and abundance, and they're polar opposites and they don't coexist. And so I used to live in fear and scarcity. And so when we're living in that, it perpetuates itself. It's just constant. So if we're coming from a place of fear, it's like I've got to get somewhere, I'm not there yet. It's scarcity, and it just keeps breeding more of its own. But when we leap over to love and abundance, it just keeps breeding more of its own. And so I've stepped over, and it was a process. But now it's like I'm constantly grateful. I'm constantly writing down gratitude because I realize that's how you plug into source. And the universe just keeps giving me the money to do all the stuff I want to do. And I just keep, there's just so much love and support and abundance in my life in every single way. And so I think people need to realize that split and just check in with themselves. Am I living in fear and scarcity? And it's pretty bloody obvious if you are, because everything's hard, everything's a struggle. Or is my life in flow and I'm in love and abundance? And love and abundance takes, I believe, prayer, or at least asking, and then handing over, trust, surrender, doing the actions that we're guided to take. And then we will see, wow, like there's something that really wants me to succeed, and it really wants me to be happy. Or check in, like, am I in fear of scarcity? Is everything hard? And does everything keep getting taken away from me? Do I keep losing everything? And so for me, I just kind of want to answer that question like that. Just like check in. You can check in right now, and it can change very, very quickly. Because don't live with regret. Like, we don't want to waste this life. Like, if you do sit down with God at the end of it all, and He's like, okay, cool, I gave you the biggest gift of all. I gave you life on this amazing planet. What did you do with it? You're like, oh shit. I thought the gift was, now when I die. It's like, no. What did you do with it?
I mean, I'm not religious at all. And I remember thinking, oh, that's quite an interesting concept. Then I thought, there are times when the universe throws prompts at me. Like just now, I left my last city that I was living there for 11 years because they were doing redundancies. And it was like the universe was going, I've given you enough signs to go and find a job and a career and all that yourself. Now we're going to make you redundant because I want you to go. I know you can be better. Yeah. And instead of taking it as a negative, I was like, okay, the universe is telling me, come on. So I'm now taking this time as okay, we know you can do more. You're at this level. We want you to level up. And like you're doing with the foes, now you're taking it worldwide. You're now going to get guys in it. Maybe not as handsome as this, but any guy that's listening, please don't send her a profile shot. Send her an email first. Don't just send her random pictures. But
yeah,
I think that's the kind of thing. It's like you're making girls realize you don't need to be a model to model. You don't need to be beautiful to feel beautiful.
No.
You can find your version of this, and you can be who you want to be again. You don't need to sell your soul for work or for a partner. Your roles don't define you. Just because you're a mother doesn't mean that's all you are. Doesn't because you're a secretary. That's not all you are. You are a person, and I think we forget that.
Yeah.
And you're doing this is beautiful work that you're doing, and I love how you're kind of
Thank you.
talking it and you're expressing it and you're dealing with it. How can we keep in touch? How can we follow you on this journey? Because I just realised how long I've had you on now, and I know you'll probably have so much else to do today. But
So fun.
until we can get a second one in,
It's been a pleasure.
how do you want people to keep in touch with you? How can we find you on social media? How can we follow along in this journey? How can we come to the yoga classes, follow you in breathwork, the books, the whatever it is?
It's so simple. Just follow my 2 Instagrams, michelle.roseyoga, and then the private page, Project La Femme. And just follow those. Send me questions, send me messages, because I always will post what's happening next on those pages. So that's the best way. Nice and simple. Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel for yoga. I've got a website for yoga and breath work. But really, my Instagram is where it's all happening.
Well, that's it for another week. And thank you for listening. It's now time to take what you've learned and use it to develop and enhance your life with the key points mentioned. Listen, try it, embrace it, use it, and crush it. Now's your time to hit that next level in your life. If you liked this episode, then please leave a comment on the show notes or a review of the show on your podcast platform. Everything helps evolve the show. Until next week, keep seeking the next level in your life.